Okay, in this video, I want to show you how to turn on the errors and warnings in your PHP INI file. This is very important when you're doing development because if you have an error in your script and you don't have this turned on, the web page, when you're looking at it to see what's happening or to see what's supposed to be displayed, it will just be blank. And if you turn this on, it's going to show you the line number where the error is, and it aids you greatly in fixing it. So I'm going to show you how to do that, and I'll show you an example. I'll create an example file just to show you how it works. So the first thing we have to do is we have to log into our server again. So it's SSH root at, and then your IP address. Okay, and then the password. Okay, and now I'm in. Now remember, we have to go to the folder where we put all our web pages. So that's going to be cd var www html. And now I'm into the folder that we create our web pages at. And if I look in the files here, you can see that I have the index page I talked about in a previous video and that PHP MySQL test that we did in a previous video. So now I'm going to add one more file to it, and this one I'm going to actually write right here on the server. So just to show you another way of you can do this. This is good for doing down and dirty stuff or for editing files that are already on the server. This is a good technique to use, or a good editor to use. So we just do vim, and I'm going to enter the file name, which doesn't exist right now, so it's going to create it. So I'm going to have this vim error PHP file. And that's my screen where I'm going to do my editing. Now, to make this appear a little bit better for the video, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hit the colon. You can see down here we have a colon showing up. I'm going to write color scheme. I'm going to hit the space bar and the tab, and I'm just going to move it over to evening. It just makes it look a little bit better. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and hit the I key for insert, and you can see it says insert right here, and you can see my cursor is sitting up here at the top. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and I'll enter PHP, come down a little bit, PHP. Now I have to use my arrow keys to move up and down. The mouse doesn't really work in this at all. But I'm just going to write something simple like this, echo, and I'm just going to write this is a test. Just like that. I'm just going to leave that alone. I'm going to hit the escape key, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hit the colon key again, and I'm going to hit W for write and enter. Okay. So what it did is it wrote that file, that little line right there, to that file on the server. So now I want to go over to my browser window, and I want to check this out. So if I go 167.71.89.136, and then I go / and I do error.php, which is right there, you can see that I get this message. This page isn't working. That's not helpful at all for me to be able to identify where that error might be. Now, granted, I wrote one line, wouldn't be too hard to figure out, but when you have a few hundred lines, it's very difficult to find where your error could possibly be. So we want to make sure they can list the errors for us. Okay, so this isn't helpful. Okay, so here's how we do that. We go back into our window right here, and I have to get out of Vim to be able to do this. So what I'll do is I'll just hit my colon key again and the Q, and that gets me out of it. Now, if you look over at my book, which is right here, and you go to errors, warnings, and notices, if you go to that page, if I go here and you scroll down a little bit, you have this area called turning on off errors, warnings, and notices. So what I'm going to be doing in the video right here is exactly what's been listed here. So what we need to do right now is we need to go to this location. Okay, now in the book when I wrote it, it was 7.0. I think now it's like 7.4. So very easy to find. We just do cd, and then we go etc php 7, hit the tab. It's going to fill in 7.4, and then it will be Apache 2. Now when we go to that location and we look by doing ls, we look inside that folder, you can see I had this php.ini file right here. So we want to edit this file. Very simple edit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write vim php.ini, just like that. Okay. Now this is very difficult to see right now because the comments are really dark and the text is kind of dark. So I'm going to do the same trick I just did. I'm going to do color scheme. You don't have to do this if you don't want to. I'm just doing it for the video. and I'm going to go space, tab, and I'll go ahead and put it over to this evening. Okay, so you can see it's a lot better to read. Now I'm going to click my insert key, and then I'm just going to start moving my cursor down. It's kind of hard to see the cursor right now. It's sitting right here. And I'm going to scroll down this page until I get into where I start to see the errors. Now what I'm looking at right now is just a whole bunch of comments. Don't really need to worry about any of that, and they'll start popping up pretty quick here. Unless I went too far. Hopefully I didn't. I think I went too far. Let me go back up a little ways. Where did it go? Where did it go? Where did it go? Okay, I went way too far. So here's where the errors are right here. You got error reporting, and keep going, and right here is where we want to go. Display errors, and it says equal off. Now, according to this file, we're on line 482. It may be different in yours, but that's where I'm at. So all I need to do is I come over here, and I switch that to on, just like that. That's all I need to do. Now I'm going to hit my escape key, and then I'm going to go ahead and hit my colon, and I'm going to go W, and then Q, and hit enter. All right, that's all I need to do. Now, if I go back to my web browser, oh, not yet. Sorry, one more step. And then I have to do this right here. Service Apache restart. We have to restart our server to get this to take. So I'm just going to go ahead and copy that. Remember the paste, we just put our cursor at the line, and it's going to enter the code for us. Remember I right-clicked and hit that. Now what that did is basically we just restarted Apache, and that just allows it to add those configurations in. So now if I go back to my browser, I got this error message. If I refresh my screen, now it tells me where my error is. So that's now very helpful. The actual message sometimes is cryptic, but at least it tells me what line the error is on. Now if I want to go fix that, the first thing I have to do is go back into where that file is. Now once you change this, you're never going to have to do it again. Okay, it will save indefinitely as long as you have the server up. So don't worry about that. But if I go back into where this is, and again you can see there's my error file right there. If I do vim error.php like that, again I don't like the way that looks, so I'm just going to change that color scheme. Unfortunately, Vim doesn't seem to like to keep these around unless you add some more configurations. So I'll go ahead and hit that just so we can see it a little bit. Hit my insert key, and then I'm going to come here, and basically my problem was I didn't put this in a string. Oh, don't want to do that. There. And I should add a semicolon. So this should have fixed it. All right, so I'm all done. I'm going ahead and hit my escape key again. Colon. W. That wrote to it. Okay, hit my enter. Now I wrote to the file, and I'm just going to test it to see if this is what happens. There it is. Okay, so now everything's working just fine. Now, again, this whole Vim thing that I'm showing you right here, I don't expect you guys to be writing all your web pages throughout the semester in Vim. I have videos on how to use VS Code. That's what I use. It's a lot easier than doing Vim. But when you have to edit a file that's already on the server, this is a nice tool for doing that. There's also something called Nano. It does the same thing. I'm used to Vim, so that's why I'm showing you in Vim. Now to close this out, again, not very difficult, I go Shift colon and Q. And that's the end. All right, so now we have turned our errors, warnings, and notices to on in our INI file, and if we have any errors on our page, we can see them. That's it.